Can man survive with no air for more than a few minutes? How long can one stay underwater without oxygen or buried alive? Does cardiac arrest inevitably mean death? Or is the brain capable of controlling all the bodily functions?
There has to be intense concentration.
And is consciousness a mechanism of the soul that can be trained? Can anyone disappear and reappear as if by magic? The answers to these questions are the secrets guarded for centuries by the great yogis of the Himalayas.
Something already immortal is there.
Is that why some can remain buried underground, sit underwater, or in an airtight glass chamber for extended periods of time, in a state of suspended animation known as SAMADHI? For thousands of years, the Himalayas have been inhabited by holy men, gurus, sadhus, and rishis, teachers, mystics, and sages who uphold the highest principles, and many of whom are known to have great powers. And while paranormal phenomenon is more common in India, in Samadhi, the self realizes the immeasurable presence that contains it, like a drop of water merging with the ocean. At that point, all physical, emotional, and mental activities stop.
That is called science of the Samadhis. From everywhere you are disconnected, your communications, your function energy, your systematic organization, all the coordinations power, all the cooperation power is totally disconnected and made it to relax, not die, not sleep. It is made it to relax.
To yogis in India, Samadhi, or suspended animation as it is sometimes referred to in the West, is a mystical experience. But Pilot Baba has been taking Samadhi in public for more than 20 years. He has been interred for 33 days and 15 days at a time, sat underwater for 6 days twice, and remained in an airtight glass for 3 to 5 days several times. By performing these feats, Pilot Baba wants to show that through self-realization, man can accomplish anything. His purpose is simple yet ambitious: world peace. After completing his higher education in Darjeeling, he traveled abroad. His sense of patriotism led him to a career in the Indian Air Force, where he eventually became a wing commander. He flew missions during the Indo-Pakistani War in the late 1960s. But despite his accomplishments, he was not happy.
I was flying for the Air Force and I found that we are just fighting and struggling for our own boundaries. We are killing the people for nothing. Though inside we are the same, but outside we have been divided.
One day on a mission in a MiG-21, he lost control of his aircraft. The jet started losing altitude and disappeared off the radar screens. He was headed for disaster when suddenly his guru Hari appeared next to him in the cockpit and guided him to a safe emergency landing.
He appeared before everybody, all the officers.
It was then that Pilot Baba realized that it was time for him to act on his intuition and go looking for the answers he had long been meaning to find. In his prime at 35 years of age, he left the Air Force and gave away all his possessions. Renouncing society and family, he headed for the Himalayas.
I walked 150 kilometers. I said, same guy, same man is there. Then he said, it's I who brought you here. It's my cave, I am living here, my friends are living, come. We are waiting for you. Your bed is waiting for a long time. 4 people were there and 1 bed was for waiting. Said, this is yours.
Pilot Baba knew he was home.
7 years I lived in the Himalayas, walking all over the Himalayas by foot, naked, a small piece of the cloth.
This journey led Pilot Baba to the place of no mind, where one experiences the death of the beliefs that make up the personality and is reborn into the higher self.
And I mastered everything. I met many good saints, great saints, long-living saints. And then I know myself. This is enlightenment. This is a samadhi. This is a realization. Then I wanted to share the people. I came back.
Yogis have allowed themselves to be buried into the earth, not for a few minutes, not for a few hours, but for several days.
The next morning, preparations are proceeding diligently at the grounds next to the temple.
This is the first time he's taken Samadhi in the last 5 years. This time he's taken Samadhi in an airtight glass container. It's supposed to be for a period of 96 hours. So the glass container has been specially constructed.
Several people are at work, some sealing the glass panels with silicone, while others set up neon lights on posts that have been erected all around the glass box. As the sun is setting, workers at the site are putting the finishing touches. Fences and gates are being painted. A canopy has been installed, and around the glass box, grass and flowers have been planted. By the time the Samadhi comes to an end, the stall will be surrounded by a small garden. On the Samadhi he is about to undertake the following day.
I should be empty before going in the Samadhi. My body should not have anything. My body should not have a memory of any food, any drinks, any toiletry system. For that little preparation required and willpower to give a message to the self. That my body should remain in this condition. So that required.
After 30 days on a liquid diet of soups and milk, ending with 2 days of no intake whatsoever, the will, or sankalpa in Sanskrit, becomes the most determining element of not only achieving but maintaining the state of Samadhi. Today, Pilot Baba will enter an airtight chamber where he will sit undisturbed in a state of suspended animation for a period of 96 hours in temperatures up to 40 degrees Celsius, around 100 degrees Fahrenheit. The room of 9 feet by 9 feet by 9 feet contains 20,630 cubic liters of air. Man's lung capacity averages half a liter of air per normal breath for 7.5 liters a minute. Over a period of 96 hours, an average subject should run out of air in less than 2 days.
In the real Samadhi, you are not experiencing anything. You are only yourself. The super consciousness. Everything come under that one. That's the place of the Samadhi. But Samadhi is a home where you are enjoying and experiencing the truth. After all this, the most powerful thing is to maintain this body is the pratyahara. It is a cleaning, outer and inner cleaning.
The attention turns inwards and withdraws from the 5 senses. The yogi then wills himself to consciously work on subtler levels.
Whenever you are demonstrating Samadhi in the society, then we have already a message to ourselves that we want to help the people.
Pilot Baba gets up and slowly makes his way to the glass chamber in which he will sit undaunted for 96 hours. During that time, he will wear only a saffron lungi, a single piece of cotton cloth, wrapped around his waist. Once the door is closed, Pilot Baba assumes the lotus position. Shortly, the curtains will be closed and it will take him only moments to enter the state of Samadhi. Almost immediately, a fierce afternoon wind rises and the canopy has to be secured. In a few moments, the curtains will be reopened. From here on out, the lavender curtain will open for darshan or sighting for 3 to 5 minutes at 9 a.m. every morning and on the hour at 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10 o'clock in the evening. As samadhis are usually taken in the dark, the curtain will fend off excessive light and retard the heat. It is also placed out of respect for the person taking samadhi, who under different circumstances would remain undisturbed. While many kept vigil overnight, the next morning Darshan saw Pilot Baba stoic in his state of samadhi. He was not in uncharted territory, having performed several underground samadhis, one for 33 days in an ice cave in the Himalayas, one for 15 days at Devidura, and one for 7 days at Agra.
Samadhi is the earth, oneness creating with the relations with the earth, and asking earth to take my message and take my will and take my cooperative power to help the people, whoever walk nearby, whoever will to connect with me, to help them. It is a message to us.
Pilot Baba also took Jal Samadhi underwater for 3 days in Japan and at Almora in the Himalayas.
When I go in the water, we take a media of water. Water is everywhere in everybody. We just invite the water energy. And plus with water energy, sometimes I invite so much fire energy, all the water will be finished within 10-20 hours. So body is completely creating a fire, and the water distance from the body, it is burning. If water is coming in contact of the body, it is burning. Then they have to fill up every 10 hours, 20 hours of water. Otherwise the water is disappears. The airtight samadhi, we have a direct communication to the sun and the air. So akasha and air is appear everywhere. So in the air you are no more physical air connecting, you are still connected.
The subtle body exits the physical body and dwells on what is referred to as the astral plane, a level of energy akin to the blueprint of the universe.
Your mind literally goes out of your body and can view the world from someplace else than your physical body.
The following day, more and more people begin gathering. Each time the curtains open, Pilot Baba remains immobile behind the glass panes. That evening, Darshan took place at 6 and 7 o'clock as expected. The atmosphere was quiet after a very hot day.
What happens in the process of samadhi is that your body becomes inert. It becomes like a corpse. It's a dead body. And you're inside this airtight container, and this extreme heat, the temperatures were hitting about 40 degrees centigrade, would maybe be about 100 degrees Fahrenheit. There's a fear of decomposition. The body has to be in a pure physical condition for you to come back into it after the samadhi is over.
Earlier, Pilot Baba had been asked how he intended to deal with the heat.
And at that time he said, I can do one of three things. Either I'll have to make it rain and make the temperature cool. The second thing is that the glass container itself in which I am locked in might burst. Or the third thing which I will do, if I feel it is necessary and it's getting unbearable, is I'll remove my body physically from it and make it dematerialize.
And so at 8 o'clock that night, when the curtains opened, the airtight samadhi glass box was empty. Pilot Baba's loincloth lay on the spot where his body was sitting an hour ago.
I have heard that there are some yogis who can make themselves disappear.
The thousands present, seeing was believing. Though few cameras were turned on at the time and practically no media people were in attendance, in a matter of minutes the crowd doubled. Journalists, photographers and cameramen arrived. But at 9 o'clock, when the curtains parted once again, Pilot Baba's silhouette appeared in the dark behind the glass panes, immobile and unchanged, as if all had imagined his disappearance. On the morning of the third day of Pilot Baba's samadhi in an airtight glass, the town of Devas is abuzz from the events of the previous evening when the yogi disappeared from the chamber in which he has been sitting, only to reappear 1 hour later. At morning darshan, the great yogi sits unperturbed as devotees sing the arati, a devotional offering of the light, in his honor. The night before, national television networks reported Pilot Baba's alleged dematerialization on the late evening news after the media was provided with some of the footage seen here previously.
When the curtain was lifted from this airtight container, which has been sealed, and there's 10,000 people watching, everybody was amazed to see that Pilot Baba was not inside. Because you've heard about these things, that yogis do this, and it takes a while for the mind to register that, hey, here's somebody who's really done it.
Since the first time he took Samadhi over 25 years ago,
this body is material, matter, and this survived by energy. So, yesterday night what you see, it is because matter becomes energy and energy changes into matter. Great yogi can do that, like appearing and disappearing.
There have been cases where people are known to both disappear and appear. That's a miracle by itself.
so on the last evening, the largest crowd yet gathered. And although lightning never strikes in the same place twice, there was anticipation in the air. This time, the media was present, and all the pilgrims, devotees, and non-believers alike had their cameras ready, just in case. And as fate would have it, once again at 8 o'clock, Pilot Baba was absent from the room. His japamala, a sort of Indian rosary with 108 beads, and his loincloth were left behind for all to see that wherever he went, he brought nothing.
One time people cannot see because there are many saints sitting with me. Another 7-8 saints already came in my pits. They were sitting with me. So if I am appearing, then they have to appear. So in that particular time, I have to disappear and become like them. Other time I was gone out.
He did so by transmuting the atoms of his body into pure energy and traveled to the other side of the veil.
And then an hour later, when the curtain was open again, then of course by that time he had materialized.
And on that last night, what a challenge for the mind. What profound questions Pilot Baba raised, and what an impression he sent the people home with.
And it was amazing, and I think all the people who were there were very amazed.
On the final morning, people started gathering very early, before the 9 o'clock darshan, in anticipation of Pilot Baba's coming out at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. 96 hours after going into the airtight glass chamber from where he turned out to be absent twice. Finally, at 1 o'clock, the curtains opened for the last time on a now familiar sight. "4 days, no light, no air, no water, no talking, no food, no restroom, no sleep, no problem." It takes Pilot Baba a few minutes to emerge from his state of samadhi, at first stretching and then covering his eyes to acclimate them to daylight again.
जितने लोग महान जो पृथ्वी पर हुए हैं, जिन्हें हम गिन सकते हैं, मीरा के रूप में, गार्गी के रूप में, आनंद में, नाग के रूप में, लेकिन
Must enjoy. the truth of the life, not the affair of the life. This life is most beautiful and life is most mysterious. Nothing is more mysterious than the life.